Awesome, thank you. It looks like I'm still waiting for Brian Feinberg, but we have Kyle Kemper, we have Warren Whitlock, and we have Joff Paradise here. Would you guys like to give a quick introduction for each of you? JPAC talking,
Happily.
But I'm mute, and Kyle beat you to it.
Oh,
comes off mute first.
Oh, great. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever everyone is. I hope you're all doing well. Kyle, great job on the pitch. What a great job. I appreciated that. I've been listening to you guys. Warren, we were just talking earlier. We've got a great group of people and panelists, and this whole thing has been amazing so far. I've had a great time listening to all of the speakers, and the engagement that everyone's getting has been really tantalizing, and I've enjoyed it immensely. I'm Joff Paradise. I'm a crypto entrepreneur and been in the crypto space for many years now. I may be a little bit of an OG, as they call it, but original gang. I've been in it and love it, and I've been heavily immersed in from everything, you name it. I've tried to play with it or done it or doing it now. So I am a big shareholder with Cryptomatic ATM. I love their software. I love their hardware. I love everything that they're doing. I'm a resident out there in Kiev, Ukraine also. So very late in the, or early morning, or very late at night, however you look at it over there. But you know, we keep going at it. And, you know, one of the things I was listening to Patrick, you know, real quick, he didn't say that they produce more than 1,600 different vending machine models, and even vending machines that take cryptocurrency. So they have all kind of stuff up their sleeve and doing an amazing work that they do. So anyway, I love the crypto space. I love, let me say thanks for all the hard work that you and Josh and Jeremy and Christina, all of you guys are working so hard, and behind the scenes with, you know, all the guys over there, Mark and all the guys, Carl and everybody. You guys are working hard, and we appreciate it. So there you go. Next.
Thanks, JP. And yes, a big shout out to Team Genius. Kyle, I saw that you were about to come up.
Sure. So I'm Kyle Kemper. Hey, everybody. Thank you again, Coin Genius, for putting this on. So I've been in the game since, I guess, 2013. Back in like 2008, 2009, I was starting like research into alternative currencies, and really believed in gold, and saw Bitcoin really early and kind of dismissed it, like I think everybody did when they first saw it. But it wasn't until 2013 when I really had, you know, someone come into my life who was a devil and an angel, and taught me the ropes. And you know, since then, I ran the Blockchain Association of Canada for 5 years. I've worked with many different exchanges. I've advised all sorts of projects. I've just helped all sorts of different projects. I've been a rabid evangelist. If anybody remembers ChangeTip, I was one of the top users of that platform, and I thought it was an amazing service, and it's a real travesty that it didn't succeed, because had it still been around, it would be absolutely massive today. But alas, the winters, the bear winters, claim victims, and they were one of the victims. Now my core project that I'm working on is Swiss Key. I wrote a book called The Unified Wallet, Unlocking a Digital Golden Age. Yeah, there it is. And you know, in it exploring what the future might look like when we all have full control of our keys, and we're in control of our data, our identity, and our money. And I truly believe that the killer app within crypto is the wallet, is the fact that in order to use cryptocurrency or blockchain, one absolutely needs a wallet. There are many, many different types of wallets. There are paper wallets, there are hardware wallets, there are software wallets, there are desktop wallets. There are, you know, I've got one of our Swiss Key NFC Tangem card wallets. These things are super slick. But this ultimately is if you think about crypto like email, in order to use crypto or to use email, you need an email address, you need a client. And we're at the same point with Bitcoin, and it's amazing how many people in crypto, you know, may have a little bit of Bitcoin on a ledger or a Trezor, or have a lot, but don't actually engage it or use it. So I really believe that, you've got to think about it from 3 points of view. Like, you've got to think about it like having a savings account, which might be your vault, which could be a hardware wallet, to having a checking account, which is which you could akin to, your mobile hot wallet, something to spend out of. And the other one that I like to say is have a Givel account, is have some coins around just to give out to people. And if anybody posts an address, how about a Dogecoin address or a Digibyte address in the chat, I'll happily send some crypto, because I think it's important to actually send it around and use it. And by doing the actual transactions, it's amazing how much one learns. You can explain to someone crypto for hours and hours and days, but when you actually make a transaction with someone, they learn so much better. This is like the give a man a fish, teach a man to fish kind of illusion. So that's what I'm all about. And I guess we're going to talk about corporate adoption. So that sounds cool.
We
are. Or however we want to take this, I'm down.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kyle. So I think you helped outline a lot of what we're going to cover here, which, if we think about payment gateways and user experience, that leads to the user adoption. But really quick, I'd like to introduce Warren Whitlock, who is actually going to be teaching at our Coin Genius University labs tomorrow on what is blockchain. And I think that that's going to be a big layer of this, as well as all the applications of blockchain, not just crypto.
And let me do a little bit more introduction. I feel somewhat redundant because I am definitely an old guy, and I loved everything Kyle said. So it's like I'm with you guys. Except for a couple of notes, I'm all about making things as simple as possible. We all think from what's inside. The way our brains work is just a series of stories. The whole, architecture of your brain is about points where you relate things to things you already know. And so I found that to be immensely profitable in many things I've done. I was around for the start of the PCs, very close to Bill Gates and Steve Jobs' age, with the whole, Malcolm Gladwell's outlier said, there's certain years that are good to be born. Unfortunately, I wasn't doing what they were doing. I was following the technology. And so by the time the internet came around and other things like that, I jumped right on. And social media, I've written a couple of books and got very well known, have a large following because of that, but never really invested in any of it. So we wrote a book called Billions Rising about the $2.7 billion people that are making less than $2 a day. And it was back in 2013. I've been familiar with it. My good friend Michael Turpin was always doing something with Bitcoin, and I had opted not to mine it because I owned a tech firm before, and I just didn't want another computer in a closet doing something. I just decided not to do that. But while researching this book, we found out so many people were ill-served by being able to get money that I think the killer app is going to be something when I can buy something from someone in Kenya without any kind of intermediary tech or problem going on there. And I think we're really close to that. Like Kyle says, a wallet's going to help. It's got to be as simple to use as an email address. And we're very close to that. And I'm glad to be here and talking about what else we can do to get more acceptance.
Awesome. Well, I love all of that. We're definitely going to dig in. So I think that in terms of corporate adoption and have we seen the killer app, in my opinion, it comes down to marketplaces, and the marketplaces that you can have don't even exist yet. And the thoughts that people are going to come up with over the next 10 years are really going to shape that. But let's just talk about some of the technicalities of the crypto ATMs and what JP calls the 1, the 2, and the 3 systems of the payment gateways. Now keep in mind here, so for everything that we're about to deep dive into, we're going to go pretty fast through things like payment gateways, smart contracts, self-identity, and geolocation, because that helps define what the user experience is of these killer apps. So I'm going to go on record and say, no, I don't think we've seen the killer app. I think that there's more to come. I think that there's a lot more to come. So with that, JP, would you like to kind of outline exactly what I was alluding to there so that Warren and Kyle can kind of take it from there?
Sure. Let me chime in real quick then. Well, first and foremost, keep in mind, killer app is not here, I don't believe. I don't think we've seen that yet. I think we've seen some super apps like WeChat and some of the other apps that are out there that are just, super apps. You can do all kind of things with it. I've experienced WeChat in all over Asia and how many members or people that are using it. And it's phenomenal. And they use it to pay for things. They use it to date. They use it to go to dinner, to meet someone. I mean, it is literally a super app. It's really cool. But as far as where we're going with the ATM and cryptocurrency, and I think Warren's touched on that really quickly. There's well more than 2 billion people on our planet today that don't have an income. They don't have a bank account. I think it's over 3 billion people today that don't even have access to a bank account. And so those people are the people that are going to be looking for an ATM service. They're going to be looking for a way to do cash or to even get some cash, or even to do a POS system that Cryptomatic has. They actually have a POS system, and Moby talks about that, and there are other payment systems out there, payment gateways you may call them, that will allow you to use a card. And what we're looking at doing is a closed loop system, a closed loop card, and going head to head with MasterCard and Visa and Union Pay and those guys, because to do a closed loop system, once we have enough ATM machines, Cryptomatic has enough ATM machines out there, and we combine the complete units of all of these 8,000, 80,000, 100,000 units, then you come out with a closed loop card. Boom, now you've got competition. And, I remember back in the day, Warren, I'm going to set myself in the age back bracket. I think we're around there. I remember the day when they came knocking at my business and said, hey, would you like to take this thing called a credit card, a plastic little card that had the MasterCard circles on it. You had to look through a little book to see if the card number was delisted on there. You had to go to actually run it. There was no electronic or digital. And that was the way we did it then. And they came and started knocking at our door. So I really believe that we can compete eventually with those. And I think that's where we're going with it. As far as the mass adoption, there we go. Once PayPal and, you can't beat them, join them. Once those guys, the BMO, once all these guys start taking this on, I was in the Philippines not 2 years ago now, in 2018. I went to a 7-Eleven, and there was a big Bitcoin logo in the window of 7-Eleven. We accept Bitcoin. And I mean, I bought a bottle of water, crazy because Bitcoin was low, but I bought a bottle of water with Bitcoin. And you could buy any product in the 7-Eleven. And now we're looking at the announcement of 7-Eleven, CVS, Rite Aid are all going to start taking cryptocurrency. Those are guys are going to be knocking at the doors for an ATM machine to be able to provide that service. And, and then again with the POS system. So I think the next big thing and where we're going with this will be to reach to those people around the world that don't have access to banking accounts and be able to wire money and to transfer. And even though I know Bitcoin is the big daddy and it is older technology, I don't really think that it's going to be all about Bitcoin for all those transactions. I think it will be with another coin, another cryptocurrency. I remember when I first got into this and I looked at CoinMarketCap, up in the right-hand corner or left-hand corner of CoinMarketCap, it had less than 1,000 cryptos. Today it has more than 5,000 cryptos, different types of coins out there. So, I will say this much for everyone and give you a little quick advice. And I love Swiss, what Swiss is doing over there with Kyle. And I love MobiPay and all the guys that are out there doing this stuff, but I want you to understand something. And I think Kyle will I think he'll agree with me. There are more people that are oblivious to what Bitcoin is about that actually own Bitcoin than the people that do own Bitcoin. And that's why we're here today, is to try to educate you guys that are out there to stop giving your Bitcoin to all of these companies and putting your Bitcoin on platforms, trying to make $100 into $1 million. You know, the best thing you can do is to put your Bitcoin in a cold wallet, store it, and and just learn as much as you can. And then once you've learned, take a little bit out and use it to make more. But stop, please stop. This tragedy of this young man he's committing suicide over reading that he was negative in his balance sheet. And that was just that. I feel so sorry for people that don't have that proper education, that get into this and they don't get how complex it really is. It seems simple, yes, but it's not. It's not as simple as you might think it would be. You need to educate yourselves, and the best way to do it is what you're doing right now, listening to people like this that are on these panels, that are in these discussions, that have written books, that understand all this stuff. So guys, you know, I can go on and on about legitimacy and transparency and, you know, these trading platforms that are out there. Stop. You know, if you're not educated on how to trade, you're not a trader. Don't trade. You know, go to get the advice of real traders. Take courses, get an education. You know, you can't just get out of school and get into economics and not know anything about economics. You know, you get into finance. This has to deal with finance. This is, you know, I asked a question earlier today to the panel. If you had $100,000 or $1 million and you had it sitting in a bank with cash, what would you do with it? Would you let it sit there, or would you invest it into crypto? You know, so if you don't know the proper answer to that question, then you need to educate yourself a little bit more. So that's just many things that are out there. But please stop putting your Bitcoin and your crypto into these companies and these platforms that are asking you to put it onto their platform unless you've done your due diligence, unless you know. I mean, if I put my crypto on a company and it's like BitMEX or Binance, and Binance is trading $400 million a day, and they're trying to be as compliant as possible, and they're working, they even have a US Binance.us, that's a company that I think will be around a little while, right? So I think I can trust those guys with my Bitcoin. But some of these other fly-by-nights that are promising this, and yield farming, guys, if you don't know what that is, you shouldn't touch it. It's the newest thing that's out there that's coming out. You know, somebody asked me about Comp Coin the other day, and I'm like, Comp is great because it's brand new. It's going to go up. What do coins do when they get brand new? They moon. You know, you got to really know what you're doing in this business. So as far as ATMs go, I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people. There are 3 different levels. There's an opportunity for you if you don't have any money and you want to get into ATM business. We'll talk about all this tomorrow. I'm actually doing a breakout session tomorrow, I believe at 2:30. Yeah. So you can come there and learn all about Bitcoin, but the past we've done with crypto ATMs, what the present is. And I'm going to talk about CoinRadar ATM, and I'm going to show you some stuff and screen share how many Cryptomatic ATMs are out there and where you can find them and all the different types of ATMs out there. But I guarantee you will find that Cryptomatic ATM is the best one out there. So we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks. Warren, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts around everything, and, you know, just.
I'm chomping at the bit here. It sounds way too complicated for me. You know, I followed everything that you said, but I kept thinking like, well, if we really want to educate somebody what to do, don't go be a trader. It's not that you can't be a trader. If what you want to do in life is be a trader, learn about arbitrage. There's plenty of places to do it in the currency market or whatever, but you got to get educated. And and I think when you were saying put Bitcoin in, talking about trust the people with your Bitcoin, not invest your Bitcoin. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the number one thing I tell people looking for how to get into this is the emerging technology is going to be there. I think that's why I like to tell the story about PCs. I saw this is going to be huge. Gates said we're going to have a PC on every desk, and in the 70s, people thought he was crazy. And, you know, obviously look how big that market got. And so I think about that with what this is. There's going to be companies doing things either with the ATMs or creating something else, but figure out somebody that has got a way to actually make the world work better and back them however you can. Buy their stock, invest, however you can. Go join the company, work for them. But another thing I learned from the PC things, lots of stories of people, Osborne Computers, brand new, guy that knew about writing about tech, started a company, Osborne Computers, took over. I remember seeing a cover of InfoWorld with pictures of their new campus. And, you know, back then the numbers were much smaller. I think it was like, you know, $15 million total that the company had. But they were large numbers to me. And I got like, man, these guys are going great. I later met somebody who was one of the first employees there and said, yeah, it was exciting, but we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know where we were going. The chasm came and they all died off. Watching that company, though, in 18 months go from nothing to wonderful to dying, I feel like tech is going to be fun. I learned business a lot faster than investing in Procter & Gamble stock. And by the way, I use that because I was interviewing for a job at Procter & Gamble, went to the first interview. A couple of P&G guys are there, and I'm the college student, and they started asking me questions, and I just started laughing. I'm going like, there's no way I can work for you guys. Let's use this 15 minutes so I can get to know some interesting people. I didn't know then that I was destined to never work for a major Fortune 500 company or anything like that, but it's something that stuck with me that you can try it that way. If you want to go take any kind of a risk on things that make sense and then really get to know it. If you need to, like, you know, I know where I'm going to go if I got questions about the ATM market, and also wallets, just you know, take care of the whole panel. But but if I want to get involved, I want to invest in the company. I want to promote the company as an evangelist. I want to get excited about what these people are doing. That's what I do with the companies I advise. I'm always, you know, promoting them, and that's just a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, let me ask a few questions
beyond the money, just that I can help young entrepreneurs that got great ideas with things they're inventing. They're going to, you know, revolutionize and change the world. And if, you know, I get a little pocket change from helping them, that's nice. If not, we move on to the next thing. And then one other thing I wanted to say about this, adoption to me is like M-Pesa. That's my favorite adoption story. M-Pesa is a Kenya company, operates just in Kenya. And in about 2013, 14, the large majority, like 85% of adults in Kenya did not have a bank account. You may have heard the stories of somebody trying to trade their goat for money, and what are they going to do with the cash? That was one of the things that got some international global attention. But they started allowing people to send money on SMS text. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Turns out people that don't have a safe place to keep their cash, don't bank, are afraid of banking in general. They can get the cash they have, keep it on their person, or much safer, go to a vendor and have it put into their cell phone. If their cell phone is stolen, they can replace it and still have their money. It's basically a wallet. There are now more M-Pesa accounts as of last year than there are adults in Kenya. It's been very popular, and they're expanding to other countries. And I'm sure there's probably good and bad about whether that system would work anywhere else. But you know, I've tried a number of these things. If I can't just send somebody PayPal, many other things. I've got one of the companies I'm involved with has contract workers in several countries around the world, and it's constant. Just PayPaling money to somebody, a Canadian. I got a Canadian living in Colombia, and I tried to PayPal him money. He goes, no, I can't transfer it to my bank. But I do have a U.S. bank. But the only way to send money to that U.S. bank is a paper check. And it's been driving us crazy. It was working, and then last month it didn't work. I've now been 30 days on and off about how we're going to get money to this certain bank because that's how he wants it. Yeah, there's better ways to do it, but you know, for purposes of telling this story, that's what he wanted, and I'm trying to accommodate him. And for some reason, our Chase Bank is not getting to his little bank. All of the electronic systems are failing, and all we can do is mail a check to a suburb of Seattle, Washington. And so we got to solve those kind of problems. And unbanks everywhere. I've got a daughter who now technically has a bank account because she gets paid on a debit card. She works in the cannabis industry. And of course she was, she's bringing me cash and I would PayPal her whatever she needed. That became a nuisance after a while. I had a big pile of cash because I don't spend cash.
So let me jump in really
finally,
quick.
they got onto a debit card and they're doing that. But still, she's afraid to have a bank. She's tried a bank, ended up the fees killed the account every time in her ups and downs in life.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that we've seen countries, completely crippled from bad banking practices, that's, one of crypto's use cases. So in terms of corporate adoption, and I just kind of think of this as an adoption, in general, we're seeing in the startup community, Warren, you mentioned the startup community, a lot of folks that are getting into different sectors. And if Brian Feinberg was here, he would be talking about the data vectors behind it and the taxonomy and sentiment and NLP. And what we're seeing is things like IBM moving into the food supply chain. And we're seeing things come out, blockchain with IP and music and energy and cannabis. And there's all of these things that are happening in the blockchain community because folks understand the power of distributed ledger technology. That's what it comes down to, right? So we're going to run out of time here in about 10 minutes. So I'd love to hear from each of you. What are your favorite things that are on the product right now, or the marketplaces that you feel can be enhanced and by leveraging blockchain solutions?
Well, I think smart contracts are definitely going to go mainstream. I think that getting into the logistics area with blockchain technology is going to be phenomenal, with tracking products, tracking medical products, all the different things that are out there. So I truly believe that the blockchain is our future. Smart contracts have a lot to play in that. And what do you guys think? Are you with me on this?
Yeah, definitely. What the part of the story I left out when I was saying hello and who I was at that time when Ms. Turpin turns me on to blockchain. I realized that it's not about crypto. We've been talking today about the adoption of crypto and the killer app there. Wallets and ATMs matter, but in using blockchain, do a blockchain search and put blockchain in almost any other word. IBM is going to be in the results. It's not, it's not some little startup. It's huge, and I think the easiest one to describe is farm to table. I've got a guy who works in ag tech, and they are telling farmers where to plant, what to plant, how much water. You've got 20% of your land doesn't have enough water, and 80% of it's getting a little bit too much. You can save a fortune on just growing the plants. And then they track them. They're tracking shrimp, which I didn't know until just this year, that shrimp ponds, most of the shrimp that we eat comes from shrimp ponds on land, very much farmed. And they know exactly where it came. And there's a disease, I won't go into it, but they can find this disease coming long before taking out one of their ponds and track all the way down to, who's going to sell it and eat it in US or anywhere else. And basically we're going to have that farm to table on everything. I got a client that is working with snow crab, sticking to seafood. And if you drop a pallet of snow crab at maybe like 6 inches, a whole pallet of it, you'll kill snow crabs in the middle. Well, now with IoT and blockchain tracking, they are saving thousands and thousands of dollars on another thing I just learned, how expensive snow crab is. They save a fortune on it. And it just goes on and on about the places you can use it. Smart contracts, we haven't even started. I think Ricardian contracts are the way to go. They're a little bit more than smart contracts. And basically every piece of paperwork we have, there's technically a difference of what they're calling triple entry accounting, and double entry accounting in the last 500 years made the modern world possible. Triple entry accounting is what we have now. It's pre-audited when it happens, and that's the blockchain. And when we start really building smart contracts on that, just everything, anything you do that has a form or paperwork or anything, you know, all the data we worry about whether or not it's private, that'll all be keyed in a way that you can only get it with your key, the same principle that's making crypto work. So all this about blockchain and the cryptocurrencies and 5,000 of them, I can't keep track. You know, which one would I get? And I realized I really don't care. I want them to come. I'll support them. I'll spend crypto whenever I can. But that's the tip of the iceberg about what blockchain is going to do.
Thanks, Warren. Kyle, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I mean, those are all amazing points and use cases. I've been a huge believer that this technology can help us unlock. As far as industries that it goes, that it can really impact, one of the ones I'm really looking forward to impacting is government and public sector accountability. In Canada, there was recent news that there was over $10 billion in public works projects that was completely unaccounted for. They asked for records on it. They said, we don't know. Like, we don't know. We'll tell you in a couple of months. Like, come on. Like, this is one of the things that Andreas Antonopoulos has talked about, is this technology isn't about allowing those at the top of the pyramid to have perfect transparency on everybody at the bottom of. It's about flipping the pyramid so that we can have transparency into the top of the pyramid and be able to understand truly where the money is flowing. Because there is a lot, especially in this current time we're in, there is a lot of shady money transfers going on. And I would say that a lot of the compliance organizations are actually there to keep a check on everything, but are being manipulated towards keeping things quiet as well. So with blockchain technology, we can have real accountability across public sectors, across non-governmental organizations, which are entirely unelected and are making decisions that are affecting all of our national sovereignty and personal sovereignty. So again, please, 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 this is where this technology, this triple entry accounting comes into play. And then you merge that with digital identities, and you put digital identities on all the public servants and all the politicians, and we see them signing off on the different laws that they approve and the different spending bills that they approve, and we can track it. That is excellent tech. And it doesn't matter if that's on Bitcoin. That can be on CAD coin. That can be on Fed coin. That can be on Euro coin. That can be on any coin. But as long as you put it on a blockchain that has, some degree of public availability, that's great. In terms of industries, look at the medical industry, amazing. I mean, Warren and John both talked about the food industry and provenance and supply chain management. Yeah, huge. As far as just industry organizations too, when I ran the Blockchain Association of Canada, it became very clear that this technology is going to affect all the industries. The question is it going to be an individual company? Like, I'm Canadian. We've got Loblaws here. They represent 25% of groceries in Canada. They're the massive player in the market. If they choose to go blockchain, that's great. They're a huge company, they can do that. But how are they going to get the rest of the 75% on board with it as well? And with blockchains like Hyperledger, like some of the permission blockchains, we can actually have industry blockchains where the data is private amongst each other. We can have confidential transactions and confidential information record keeping, but we can also have accountability groups like Food Safety Canada, in case there is an outbreak and we need to open up the chain to see some records. Hopefully the parties who have led to the outbreak will just open up the records immediately. But if they choose, no, we're not going to, that's when you need a government or an authority or a judicial level to say, no, we're going to open this up and we're going to be able to see these transactions. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also incredibly excited about the downfall, about how banks are no longer necessary, and the banking monopoly has been broken with Bitcoin and with cryptocurrency. It doesn't mean that they're obsolete and they're going to be gone tomorrow. No, they're going to be around, just like we still have DVDs and watching, kids are watching DVD right now. We still have DVDs, but that doesn't mean like the DVD controls the world anymore. We now have lots of options. And with crypto banks, their monopoly on digital money transfer has been destroyed. And we can now set up a Swiss bank in our pocket in 5 clicks without giving any personally identifiable information, without doing any KYC, without asking permission from anybody, and being able to request money and send money to anybody on the planet. That is fucking amazing.
Can I ask something really quick? Because this will actually be good for everyone. I'll get your thoughts here as we have about 4 minutes left, so maybe about a minute each. What Kyle's talking about with digital identity and the wallet goes further into an area of adoption that we haven't really explored yet on this conversation, which is something that's compatible with the Swiss Key wallet. And the Swiss Key wallet happens to be compatible with the crypto ATM machine. And then that creates, like, you go from fiat in to crypto out to a card that you actually hold. That's the 3 triangle there. But with all of that, SwissKey can also handle NFTs, which for those of you that don't know is non-fungible tokens, and that kind of transitions into the next panel that's coming up. But I'd love to hear all of your thoughts around NFTs. Just a real quick roundtable, 1 minute. JP, we'll let you go first.
Well, just real quick, Kyle, Cryptomatic has an ATM machine today that will take and spit out a card, or will give out a card like what you're talking about. So we'll talk some more. Anyway, NFTs. I have gotten to know a little bit about that through Joel over at the Bad Crypto guys, and I started looking into NFTs, and they actually introduced me to it, and now I'm kind of loving it. I see so much more adoption coming to the world through NFTs and through all what's going on. I really, really think that I can't wait to hear the next panel. Personally, I'm into it. I have 8 children, 8. And I told my oldest kids to get their butt in there and start collectibles and start doing NFTs right away. Because if they're like when I used to collect those top cards with the chewing gum, and you get a baseball card and football, pro football cards, basketball. When I collected those, we were always looking for the money card. And now I'm looking at these things, and some of these cards are going for $800 when they were $4. So I'm telling my kids, you want to see something, and then they're going to adapt that into the gaming industry. And when they put that into the gaming, it's going to blow up even more. And that's mass adoption. When these big guys come in when you get PayPal and all these other companies coming in, that are allowing you to pay through cryptocurrency, and then the gaming industry gets in. What else you think? What do you think the granddaddy's going to do? Granddaddy is Bitcoin. What do you think is going to happen to it? That's all on you guys. Who's next?
Thanks, JP. Warren, your thoughts. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry, Warren. Check your mute button.
Yeah. First time I heard about them, I thought Pogs. Inventing a collectible and hoping it's going to catch on. I've come around my way of thinking. I was first introduced by Jody Rich a couple of years ago, and he runs a conference on it. And they were nagging me about getting involved. And after talking to them, I go like, okay, I get where you're going here, but will the world go on without NFT? I don't know. It seems like could catch on and could be as big as baseball cards. So,
Kyle, your thoughts.
NFTs are going to change the world.
NFTs
NFTs represent digital badges. They're verified credentials. They are something that we can replace the loyalty cards in our wallets with. They'll be able to, by making a purchase at a grocery store, we'll be receiving an NFT back saying, thank you for purchasing. You're a gold star customer. By writing there'll be NFTs for all sorts of different things. Some of them will be collectibles and will be sought after because of scarcity. Other ones will be, like the POA, the proof of attendance protocol, which is like, we were at this. We could have an NFT saying I was at this. Then you can use to verify So if somebody wants to reach out for me to speak at their conference, I can say, look, here are my 25 different NFTs that I have that have my name on them, saying that I spoke at all these different conferences. I have in my email here these 3 little images that Christina and team put together for me. Like those can represent the NFTs. And that we can use them for all sorts of different things. It can be more than that too. They can be voting tokens as well, as part of if you're part of an association or a membership, instead of just an email address accrued in a ledger. It's like, okay, here's your actual token that represents something that you can vote on. And then to actually log into a service, you might need to prove show and prove your NFT in order to log into the solution. And at the core, I always come back to it. It all comes back. We need a wallet to store all these things. And that's why I'm doing SwissKey, and that's why I'm building out this. And I'd love all of your help in helping get this to the market, because it's a lot of work.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, JP. For the audience, all of these folks are part of the Genius Network. CoinGenius has authenticated them as experts in the space. Warren Whitlock, you can find out about anything to do with blockchain, computer evolution, media, and publishing. JP, of course, expert on cryptomatic ATM and point of sale payment gateways. And Kyle Kemper, SwissKey, point of sale and payment gateways. All of these folks represent Wall Street to all streets, and that we are trying to bring this technology for all the folks. So thank you guys for using that explanation. That kind of sets the bar for as we move into the very deep conversation of tokenization with actually a representative from Tops. So the Garbage Pail Kids that just came out that are going for like $2,000 now. He's going to be on the next panel, and Joel and Travis from the Bad Crypto podcast, which are partnered within the Genius Network as well, will be telling you about their new adventures with the Wax protocol. So all 3 of you, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys at the VIP party tonight.
Can't wait.
Christina.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Warren.
Well done.